When I first started out on YouTube, I watched hundreds of YouTube videos on how to make a thumbnail, how to do ideation, how to edit a video, how to script a video. But after watching 10 or 15 videos, literally everyone was giving the same advice. I kid you not, after watching the top 10 YouTube education channels and taking notes on every single one of their videos, their advice can be summarized into these 6 points. Number 1, find winning ideas in your niche and turn them into videos. Number 2, your hook needs to meet the viewer's expectations and validate the click. Number 3, your thumbnails need to be clickable. Number 4, stories are powerful, so use it. Number 5, include B-rolls in your edit. Number 6, some kind of motivation to help you post your first video and improve each time. While this advice isn't wrong per se, if it was this easy, everyone would have 1 million subscribers. So that's why I wanted to make a YouTube video to go one layer deeper to all the conventional YouTube advice. So that way you can figure out what the top YouTubers are doing that they aren't telling you. So the first piece of advice that literally every YouTube education channel tells you is that you want to find video ideas in your niche that are working and turn those into videos. So this just uses outlier theory, which means that you would find videos that are performing really well on a channel or really well in a niche, and you would take the exact same video idea and you would apply it to your niche or to your channel. So it basically just says find what is working and adapt it to your channel. While this might seem easy in practice, but it is actually much more deeper than that. So nowadays there's a bunch of tools like 1 of 10 and view stats that have been released that can help you find these outlier videos that you can turn into potential video ideas. But here comes the problem. If everyone has access to all of these tools to help them find outlier videos and find actual good video ideas, then why is it that not everyone is getting 100,000 views? And that's because the truth is that ideation is not that simple. It is not as simple as just finding what's working and applying it to your niche. One of the things that people get wrong with outlier theory is that they will just find one piece of video that performs really well and they'll turn that into a video idea. So in other words, they only find one single data point and use that to validate the thesis or validate the idea that they have. But there's a ton of factors that go into why a single YouTube video went viral. Was it the thumbnail? Was it the title? Was it the script? Was it the editing level? Was it the time that was posted? Was it because of other news events that made this specific YouTube video perform really well? So basing whether a good idea is actually a good idea off one data point is actually not the smartest thing to do. What you actually want to do is you want to take a multiple data points, multiple outlier videos to actually figure out, okay, does this idea that I have actually work? So the way that you actually do this is that you need to come up with a thesis for, okay, I think that this video idea will work, and then you want to find data points that support that thesis and data points that go against that thesis. So one specific example that I applied to my channel is this new way format. So the new way to run Facebook ads in 2024. So this specific video got 99k views by Chase Chappelle. So this video performed really well. So you can say the new way to run Facebook ads, the new way to run Facebook ad leads. So all of these videos were pretty good outliers. So basically the thesis would be that if you took the new way format to run Facebook ads, because Facebook is also a social media platform just like YouTube, if you would apply this exact same format to YouTube, it would actually work. And we didn't just look at one data point for this, right? This is another channel that I worked with instantly. So they did the new way of cold emailing in 2024. So this video got 49k views in the cold email niche, which actually might not sound like a ton, but the cold email niche is very, very small because it's a specific business segment. There's not that many people who are interested in cold email. So having a video get 49k views is actually pretty remarkable. So because of that, the new way format had a lot of validation within the Facebook ads niche, and we also applied it to the cold email niche. It worked really well. And in other channels that we worked with, we also validated it in the Google ads niche, so the new way to run Google ads. So we thought if we applied it to the YouTube growth niche, this would actually work. So we actually applied this format to the YouTube growth niche, which I did in my channel. This video 3 months ago has 5.4k views, right? It's a similar thumbnail format, which did okay, but there were other channels like vidIQ, which executed the video a lot better, right? This was a 17-minute video. My video was a little bit too short. The editing was a little too fast. So you can see here how this actually relates to this idea, if the idea is actually executed correctly. Or if you look here, right, this was the very first video on my channel, how to make a killer YouTube video for the 2024 algorithm. So the reason I decided to do this specific video idea is because I saw this John Dorman video, 1.6 million views, how to create a killer YouTube video to blow up your channel. So all of the words in small caps, killer is a very strong word. So I thought, okay, this video format could potentially do well, but this wasn't just one single data point which gave me the confidence to do this video. If you see over here, how to make a killer YouTube intro done by April and Alta, this video got 842k views in 9 months. So it's a 100x outlier. So this gave me even more confidence in this format. She also posted this video, how to make a killer thumbnail, which got 282k views in 6 months, which is also another massive outlier, another 100x outlier. So you can see over here that because there's validation from John Dorman, that original video, okay, that gave me a little bit of confidence. And then April and Alta's 2 consecutive videos with this exact same format. Of course, she executed the video really well. The script is really well done. The edit is really well done. But you can kind of come up with the thesis that how to make a killer YouTube video, that idea has legs if the video is executed well. And I managed to post that very first video, and that video got about 12k views in the first 4 or 5 days, which is actually pretty good for a completely new channel. And one more example that you could see here, right? I had this video that did pretty well, 15k views. How Imangaji made $40 million from one YouTube video. How did I actually come up with this specific video idea? So first of all, I kind of grown up watching Imangaji, watching a lot of his videos when he was on the come come up, and I saw that no one actually really broke down his most famous video, 9.2 million views right now in 2 years, which is actually totally crazy. So I thought there was an opportunity for me to come in and do a full breakdown of that script. And literally 1 week before I started scripting the video, I found this video by Vega, How FOMO Makes You Watch Imangaji Editing and Storytelling Breakdown. It was a 6-minute and 49-second video. This video at the time had like 20k views, which is a pretty good outlier for almost a completely new channel, which gave me the confidence that this idea of doing an Imangaji breakdown and how he does his YouTube videos actually had legs and people actually wanted to watch something like this. And also, when I watched his video, he didn't really do so much of a breakdown on the script and the storytelling, so that was still a gap that I could have filled. And so that's why it's important to not just find one outlier and turn that into a video. You actually want to find multiple data points to give you confidence in your next video idea. And literally a piece of advice that every YouTuber talks about is that the hook needs to meet the viewer's expectations and validate the click. If you were to think about the origins of this specific advice, it came from Mr. Beast. So a few years ago, Mr. Beast did a podcast where he literally gave away all of his content secrets. And one of them was that your hook wants to be direct and you want to tell the viewer what they are going to get in the rest of the video. While this advice isn't wrong, I actually think it's really good advice in the entertainment space, but in the education space, it is a little different. If you're making educational videos, the goal of your hook is to, number one, yes, tell the viewer what they're going to get, but it's also to make your viewer feel safe. And when I say feel safe, I mean that you need to find a way to let your viewer know that you're not just some yapper on the internet. And part of that is letting your viewers know what your credentials are. So that means giving proof. I did XYZ in X amount of time frame. I grew all of these companies in this amount of time. And if you don't have credentials like how much money you made or how many YouTube videos that you made or how many views that you've generated, what you can do is you can actually give proof through time. And what that means is that if you can show your viewer that you put in more time into one thing than they would have to give you to watch the video, then they are more likely to watch from start to end. This is exactly what Mr. Beast did when he first started out, where he said Logan Paul like a gajillion times or something. You want to show your unique edge in your video at all times by showing proof. And then in the rest of the hook, you want to reinforce why they should watch the rest of the video. And that could just be directly telling them what they're going to get. So it's laying out, this is what I'm going to talk about in the rest of the video. You can stay if you want. So the hook should literally be, this is who I am, this is the proof, and this is what you're going to get for the rest of the video. That is it. Don't overcomplicate it if you're an education channel. Just follow this framework. Okay, now moving on to the third piece of advice that everyone talks about is that your thumbnail needs to be clickable. This piece of advice is my favorite is because you cannot act on it at all. It is not actionable at all. Obviously, you want to have a clickable thumbnail. Like no shit, you are on YouTube, you need to have a clickable thumbnail. The problem with this advice is that no one actually tells you how to make a very clickable thumbnail. But that's probably because it is actually so difficult to distill all of the knowledge on how to make a killer thumbnail, because there are so many components to it. It depends on what niche you're in. It depends on the familiarity of the audience. It has so many factors to it. There's actually a really good video by April and Alta on how to make a killer YouTube thumbnail. So if you're curious how to do that, you can go and watch that video. But if I were to boil down what makes a clickable thumbnail, it would be two things. One, does it paint the dream outcome? Number two, does it tell the viewer exactly what they're gonna get? And when I say paint the dream outcome, your thumbnail needs to visually show the dream state of your viewer. So if you were to look at this thumbnail, right, the dream outcome is very clear here, 15.4 million views on the YouTube dashboard. Over here, it's the green line in the background pointing towards the top right, 7.4 million views, subscribers 112k. Over here, $40 million in revenue in the green line in the background. All of these is related to the dream outcome. Over here, it's the Stripe dashboard. So the Stripe dashboard, if you're in the business space, most people use Stripe. So this is considered a dream outcome. Over here on the script writing calls, it's views, watch time, revenue. And over here, right, 21-year-old starts YouTube and makes 500k in 70 days. For the most part, it is a Stripe dashboard, which is the dream outcome of people who want to watch the video. So when you illustrate a dream outcome to the viewer, they'll be like, oh, I really want that, so I'm going to click on this video. Illustrating the dream outcome is as simple as that. And if you look at some of these recent Hormozy thumbnails, over here, email, all of this plus money. Over here, he uses Stripe too. Here, selling a valuable company, 46.2 million sold. Here's a productivity guide. Here, it's millions when he's talking to people. Over here, it's failure versus success. And on some of his more famous thumbnails, right, here it's 0 to 1 million. Here, it's the dollar bill in the background, him very serious. You would also say that this is considered a dream outcome. My path to 100 million in 7 years. Here, he is very direct. It's just one of the better things he does, which brings me to the second point, which is telling the viewer exactly what they're gonna get. And this is what Hormozy has been doing more and more, right? Over here, you can look at the text, work even harder. Here, 0 to 1 mil, fix your shit. Nobody talks about this, all my mistakes. So he literally tells the viewer exactly what they're gonna get. And then when the viewer clicks, the hook just validates that even more and even more. And just like that, he gets hundreds of thousands of views on every single video, which, he's the GOAT. You can't really dispute that. So that is how you do thumbnails. Advice number 4, stories are powerful, so use it. My problem with this specific piece of advice is the same as my problem with saying that your thumbnail should be clickable. It's that this piece of advice is not actionable at all. No one actually really understands what what your YouTube storytelling is, because storytelling is such a complex concept. Not everyone can grasp this concept. If I tell you, oh, you just need to tell better stories, the question is how, right? And when I tell you how, you're actually asking me, okay, how do I apply this to my specific niche? How do I apply this to my video? I don't think I can apply this to my video. But in reality, you can actually apply storytelling, whether you're in entertainment, whether you're in lifestyle, whether you're in education. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools out there if you use them correctly in your YouTube videos. And the best part about storytelling is that you will always get better at storytelling, right? There is no one point in time where your stories will be perfect. There is always a different way to tell a story. There's always a better way to tell a story. So storytelling is one of those things that I'm really, really passionate about. If this is a one cut, no take, it's because I actually really, really love storytelling, and I'm gonna give you all of my sauce right now. So every story has these 4 components. It is the character, intention, obstacle, and stakes. And if that sounds complex, I'm gonna simplify it even further to who, want, but, so, then, right? Who is the main character? Want, what does this character want? But, so there is some sort of obstacle there, but this happened, and then they decided to do something, so this is the outcome. So every single story followed this framework: who, want, but, so, then. So even a simple story can work on YouTube. It doesn't have to be crazy, give away $100,000. So a simple story could be the who is me, and I wanted to impress my mom, right? So that's the who and the want. So I'm the main character, and this is my intention. And my mom's coming over for dinner, and I really wanted to impress her, but I don't know how to cook. So I decided to go online and learn how to cook. I wanted to learn how to cook Brussels sprouts and make sure these Brussels sprouts were the best Brussels sprouts in the world. But then I burnt all of these Brussels sprouts, right? And then the story kind of continues from there. So you can see over there, the story is really simple. It's just me wanting to impress my mom, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be the most blown out of proportion thing, but there's like some obstacle here. And actually there is some sort of vested interest in every single story if the stakes are really established like that. It doesn't have to be really big stakes. Once again, all the story is there must be intention and there must be obstacle. So when there's a clash between I want something, but there's something in my way, that's what makes for a really good story. Because when I want something, but there's something in my way, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to actually really want to get this done. And the stronger the want, right? The stronger the will, and the stronger the obstacle, that's what makes for the most interesting stories. So Batman and the Joker, the want and the but is actually so strong. So that's why we are so invested in those kind of stories. And if you're still like, oh, I don't know how to integrate this into my education video, let me tell you this, okay? There are 2 types of positioning that you can potentially take when you are telling a story. Number 1, you can be the expert, which most YouTubers would fall into, right? You're the expert in this certain topic, right? Especially if you're a business owner. And number 2, being the normal guy, which is the positioning of I'm kind of learning along with you and I'm kind of just learning as I go. So if you were to take an expert positioning for most of you, is that you would start with the story from a third person's point of view. So it'll be like, oh, I heard the story of this guy, or I had a client with this kind of case study who did this. So you're telling the story from an expert's point of view. But if you're the normal guy, you could take the positioning of, oh, I had all of these experiences and I felt this way, right? I wanted to get this, but I had all of these obstacles. I wanted to make money online, but I was in school. I didn't really have time. That way you can kind of evolve the story from there. So it's really important to identify who this specific main character is. Is this main character an expert, or is this main character a normal guy? And from there, you can kind of develop the story from there. Okay, so that's literally all of my sauce on storytelling. I'm gonna go to the 5th point right now, which is to include B-rolls in your edit. So when I first started on YouTube, the advice was to just film B-roll of yourself to visually explain what you have in the script. And I was like, what the fuck? I don't know how to use a camera. I don't know how to get B-roll. I don't even do anything, super unique in my life. How do I get B-roll so I can add it to my editing? I thought you needed to have a nice house in Dubai in order to get B-roll. And if you were to watch, a couple videos earlier, some of the B-roll that I made was super cringe, super goofy stuff. And it was like, okay, like what is this guy even doing? What people actually didn't tell me is that B-roll is kind of a part of your life as a creator. B-roll is one of the most difficult things to do because no one tells you that 90% of your B-roll is going to be total dog shit. The stuff that you see on Instagram, the stuff that you see on YouTube is actually the 10% of B-roll that people get. A lot of the advice was to highlight the parts in your script that you wanted to get B-roll, and then you can film B-roll from there. But I think for me and a lot of people, that specific piece of advice doesn't actually work. What I actually do now is that I will record a ton of B-roll from my life. I will have people around me, other creators, that I will tell, hey, record a bunch of B-roll of me, recording my own videos, typing on my computer, sitting by the pool, and that way, just take a bunch of shots from me, and I'll take a bunch of shots for you, and that way we can have this library and this collection of B-roll that we can use for all our future videos, right? We can repurpose it for Instagram if we want, we can use it for YouTube if we want, but we just want to have as much B-roll as possible because 90% of it will be shit and 10% of it will actually be really good. And number 6 is some piece of advice that every YouTuber talks about, which is to give you some sort of motivation to post your next video and then improve it by 1% each time. This piece of advice I actually think is valid because there's a whole cohort of people who are too afraid to go out there and post their first video, even though they know all of the benefits that it could bring them. Because if you don't post your first video, it's impossible for you to grow on YouTube. And something that most people don't understand is that if you actually have 100,000 niche subscribers, you will literally never go broke. You will never have to work a 9 to 5 in your job. Your business will grow and grow and grow, and it will do super duper well. But most people aren't actually too afraid to post their first video. They just want their first video to be perfect. But if you were to ask every single YouTuber to look back and ask them how good was their first video, everyone will tell you that their first video was terrible. So there is no shot in this world that you are an exception. That's just how it is. What I were to do if I were to start this channel again is I would have a content bank. You want to start off with a content bank because it doesn't matter whether the YouTube algorithm actually pushes your content. If someone somehow finds you, they will have content to binge watch over and over again. And when someone spends more time watching your videos, that's when they become mega fans of you. You want to build digital mass for digital gravity. And what that means is that you want to have digital mass so big that when someone comes by your planet, they'll get caught in an orbit until they eventually become a subscriber and they become a really big mega fan of you. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're a VC, if you're a normal YouTuber, if you're just a creator, if you want to become famous, you need to post on YouTube. And if you're too scared to get in front of a camera and record a video and you just want to have a faceless channel with a voiceover, sorry to tell you, you're probably not going to make it because a personal brand is one of the strongest things that you can have, whether you're a creator or whether you're a business owner. It is one of the things that will make sure that you will never go poor in 2024 in this decade. And if you for some reason decide to give up after posting a few videos and not seeing any traction, just remember that the biggest creators didn't see any traction for the longest amount of time. Mr. Beast took many years before he even took off. And if you're in the education space, Alex Ramosi took many years, took 2 to 3 years before getting any traction, before anyone actually saw his videos, before he even got famous. You cannot expect to see growth in a short amount of time without actually trying. And so that's my YouTube advice that's hopefully a little different from what everyone else is saying. Also, part of growing a YouTube channel is writing really banger scripts. That's why I just put together a free 2-hour course on how to write great YouTube scripts that you can use and apply right now and have your next video go viral. Check it out over here. It's completely free and I've gotten feedback that it's one of the best resources that they've ever seen. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.